So, hello everyone. Welcome to another podcast of Worksmith. Today we would be discussing on very exciting topic. I'm sure, which is a lot of people, those who are thinking about coming up with the new startups, new ideas. Those who are already in the stage of growth. Those who are already in the stage of growing. Those which are an enterprise organization. So today we have a leader who has been helping leaders, mentors in the marketing space. I mean, this one statement would describe him like anything. He has been the kind of strategies that he has defined in the marketing space has helped organizations generate more than $800 million, right? So, needless to say, today's conversation will be more exciting. We'll get to know, we'll learn a lot. So, today we have Asim Khaliq, who has been mentoring, has been acted as he's also acted as a professor. He mentored various leaders, across the globe. So, hi, Asim. Welcome to Worksmith Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Great, Asim. So, Asim, we would begin with a quick introduction of yours, before we jump on to, learning more from you.
Again, thanks for having me. And my name is Asim Khaliq, and I live in Canada. And I started my journey of digital, space very early. In 1997, I graduated. 1996 December, and in 1997 I started this digital journey. And because at that time there was lack of resources and support available, so I learned probably everything by myself. But in 1999, I got introduced to e-commerce, and I love that idea of buying everything digitally.
Right.
And from there on, I just got into this e-commerce. I built my businesses. I helped many businesses, and during this course, I have learned probably everything you can imagine, because as an entrepreneur, you need to do everything.
Absolutely.
But later in my stage life, I decided that if I'm doing everything for myself, it's not going to work, because it has to be giving as well. So I started consulting, because I was consulting, mentoring anyways, when I was running my business. And actually I was using my pseudonym so that people cannot track me. And because sometimes there is a conflict of business interest in these kind of stuff.
Right.
Anyway,
Right.
so I helped many businesses, and this is an evolution, so each challenge is bringing a new opportunity for me to learn new things and explore new things. And here I am. I have probably mentored and coached more than 350, 400 people. I have
Fantastic.
worked with hundreds of brands. I have built several businesses of myself and successfully exit from those business. And today I'm talking to you.
Great, great. No, I'm sure the way I'm excited for our conversation. I'm sure once, this goes out on different platforms, people would be learning a lot from you. I mean, let's begin with this question, right? So generally, very often, right, we would find that a lot of, those organizations who are in existence for more than a decade, but all of a sudden one, startup would come in the market, maybe like less than 2 years, and they'll break the record, right? And they'll make themselves a big space out in the market. So what is that one big shift that organization do not see coming? And, ideally, if they get some sort of a sense of an understanding, it can help their team to adapt it and apply it right in their organization. What do you think about it?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Actually, I think many organizations with great ideas, they fail after some time.
Yeah.
And if you see, there is a pattern. The pattern is entrepreneurship. So most of the businesses start by an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur are the people who are always in constructive conflict with the things they see around, and they start their business. But what happened is, after sometimes they indulge themselves into business operations. So
Mm.
their entrepreneurial thing is gone. Now they somehow become, CEO or founders and these kind of things. and they lost there. And someone else, who's entrepreneur, they're going to come with an idea. So in my opinion, you need to run your company. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to run your company as an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
And you need to always have this constructive conflict with the things around and keep evolving with the time and be a futuristic. Think about, what's going to happen after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and try to, build your business based on the future scenarios. Do not get too much involved in business managers because you can hire business managers easily,
Right.
but you cannot hire entrepreneurs. And that is where, many people fail. They need to think about if they can duplicate themselves, then
Hmm.
they can be a sustainable business. But if they cannot duplicate themselves, then they need to hire other people who are good in other stuff of business and keep evolving with the time, with the technology as well, and society overall. This is how businesses are built.
No, absolutely. I completely agree here, right? I mean, moving on the same note, right? A lot of times what happens, organizations do not realize those early indicators, right, that may end up impacting their business. Or probably they may end up getting early sign from the customers that their businesses are not aligned or maybe meeting with customers' requirement or need. Uh, I won't say requirement, more of need, right? When customers say, hey, you know what, I'm looking out for this and I'm not kind of getting it. But, what are those early signs or indicators that, ideally organizations should focus on while they are planning to promote their product out in a either they are establishing one market thinking about launching the product or services in a new market, or it could be any of these startups, those who are coming up with the new ideas and probably tried out their hands for 2 3 years and they're getting those early signs and what they can learn so that they can pivot fast. I'm sure, right? I mean, you have mentored so many people, right? And you must be having some lot of success stories to talk about.
I'll tell you a couple of people I consulted, so then
Hmm.
it's gonna make more sense.
Sure.
So I was consulting, a business, and they were pets, pet store, and they were a little innovative about, their product. I cannot go deep into their product, but what
Yeah.
happened is, they started with a very amazing idea,
Hmm.
and somehow they disconnected. Now they were making money, they have
Right.
good revenue. So when I started coaching, the CEO, I found that he is totally disconnected with the customers. And he started with that thing, understanding the market, understanding the customer, understanding the problem of the target market. But somehow in business management, he lost track and he became the
Hmm.
CEO. He was talking to his team, and this customer service is all about closing tickets, closing successful ticket, getting reviews. When I
Right.
said, do you talk to your customer? And he said, no, I have a customer service team. I said, that's fine. Customer service team is operations,
Right.
but as an entrepreneur, do you really talk to your customer? And he
Yeah.
said, why should I talk to your customer? I said, think about it. You started the thing by observing customer, talking to customer, validating your ideas, but now you're not talking to the customers. This means you are disconnected.
Hmm.
And things evolve with the time. So the yesterday's problem today is not valid. And what is
Absolutely.
valid today is not going to be valid, So he understood. He said, so what should I do? I said, okay, you can start talking to your customers. And you have better opportunity than before because before you were looking for, people. Now you have, hundreds and thousands of people. And literally you can have, insightful, discussion with the customer, understand their behaviors, take your data and see, if you can find some gaps and some opportunities, or maybe,
Hmm.
something evolves, in your industry. So I said, this is what you need to do. And this is, I think, in the core of the problem that,
Hmm.
management, they are totally disconnected with the customer. They do not talk to customers. And when
Right.
I was running my business, I always have time for the customers. Every day, religiously, I was investing 1 to 2 hours talking to customer. And out of one business, we built, 5 businesses just because we
Oh,
were talking to
fantastic.
customers. Because the thing is, customers were coming up with the problem, and we were thinking about, this is a problem. Can we automate this problem? Can we
Hmm.
start something new?
Right.
Can we start? So, for example, we started our made to order uniforms just
Right.
because we were getting calls from customers that they cannot find something in whole USA, and they have, different body types, and they have struggle. And then we said, okay, I think this is a huge market. We validated it, we launched it, and we were the pioneers, made to order uniforms in USA.
No, I think very valid point, right? Even today, when I speak to customers, right, I mean, I generally get involved myself in the early conversation with the customer because ideally, what I have noticed here is that when you are pitching your services or product to the customer, that is when customer is actually talking about their problems with you. Because once they buy the program, once they buy the product or services, I mean, that is there is a lot of buying already, right? So the opportunity to learn from them is probably lost. Later on, you are just busy with implementation, right?
Yeah,
And you are absolutely right because when you speak to them, they come up with those challenges and problem statements. Sometimes you feel, oh, it's a very good idea. I mean, yeah, so that gives you a lot of understanding and a lot of ideas and potential
yeah,
to mold your product.
yeah,
Absolutely right. You need to stay connected with the customers. But as I'm going to take more clue from the statement that you just mentioned that, you came up with 5 ideas from the customers after learning more from the customers, right? So what is that one unexpected strategy that you've applied that has given you a great result, right? Great amount of result. Probably you might not even have expected, and you thought, oh wow, this is amazing, right? And how it has kind of worked out for you, which probably people might have thought, hey, you know what, oh, this is not going to work, or probably, hey, Asim, maybe it may not have that potential, but you believed in it and you said, no, I see a gap, a huge gap, and I think we need to work
yeah,
on it.
yeah. So that's a very good question, and I would say, in the first of all, you need to have a
Hmm.
mindset of growth. That
Yeah,
you need to have growth, and what growth means is, you need to understand that, and talk to yourself every day, and say that you don't know everything. The problem with
yeah,
many people, in the industry, they think they because they are in the industry and they know everything. So the thing is, first of all, you don't know everything. Second, you need to have, a skill of listening to others, and
hmm.
listening with empathy.
Yeah,
Understand their problem, not try to solve things too quickly, but try to understand from where they are coming. So I'll give you a very specific example, and about this made to order stuff, uniform. So I got
yeah,
a call from someone, and she said, my husband, he always wanted to become a nurse, and now she got into private nursing school, but he is a big supersized guy, and I cannot find any uniform in USA. Do you have this size? I said, no. If you're thinking about ready to wear, we do not have it. However, if you give me some time, I can find a solution. So I talked to my partner, and fortunately he was from production. So he said, yeah, if we have fabric, we can do it, you know. So I called in a couple of companies, we got the fabric, I called her, I said, okay, we can do it, you know, and this would be the price, yada yada yada. She agreed, and we did, first run. It was just, a couple of scrub sets. And if you think, we lost money on that thing, because, too much time, and too much production time, and, everything, pattern making and everything. But during that process, I started doing some research, that do we have enough market? And I
yeah,
was amazed that, yes, we do have market, you know. So I called her a few times. I was talking to her, because now, she knows, the community. She knows, the struggle of, the people
yeah,
with different, size and length. And we started very small, and we put on our website, and we started getting order. So the whole story is, first, I was listening to her. I did not say we did not have anything, thank you. I said, okay, let me find a
yeah,
solution.
yeah,
We give her the solution. We got the connection with her. I started talking to her. I was doing another validation. It's kind of, building a business with just one call.
yeah.
And I guess, we hit $1 million in 1 year, and I'm
Amazing.
talking about 2020, 2004, 2005. And we validate everything. So the whole idea is, it's not just, provide the customer service in a way that, sorry, we do not have it. Sorry, yes, we have it. And that is the point I was making, because if that call was taken by,
Yeah.
an associate, their answer would be scripted. Sorry,
Yeah.
sir, we do not sell, or sorry, madam, we do not sell this thing, right? But my answer was different. My answer was, what? So do we have that market? Really? Like, people are struggling with this thing, and this become the whole business. And similarly,
Yeah.
I can give other examples as well, but this is a very good example, and I always take pride of that thing. It's not the business, I take pride. Actually, I take the pride of conversation I had with her. It was so emotional, that
Yeah.
she was almost crying, once she got the item. She was said, you saved my husband life, because this is what, his dream, profession is. And
Yeah.
thank you so much. And I said, this is the thing. I could have just say sorry, but here I am, build the business, and here I am.
No,
Anyways.
absolutely, Asim. I think what I really liked here is, sometimes we don't realize the value, right? I mean, it's just not about building the product, but it is beyond the product, right? People may be having dreams, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
right? So, and because you had that, and as you rightly stated, in fact, people need to have more of an opportunistic mindset rather than just looking at the product and saying yes or no. And I mean, I'm sure, right? I mean, a lot of if I look at on the other ground, it's more of a humanity as well that has come out.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Let's not always talk about product, but let's look at one. Let's take one step extra and try and see what can we do. And that brought another opportunity for you. Knocking on the door, and you capitalize it. But at the same time, you ensure that you also help the person fulfill the dream. Amazing story, Asim, right? I mean, and it's a very small thing, as you rightly mentioned, just a
Yeah.
very small thing. Anyone
Yeah.
could have easily said, "Hey, you know what? I'm sorry, we don't do that."
Yeah.
Right. And keeping that in mind, right? I mean, Asim, right? And I'm sure, right? You might have done a lot of course corrections throughout your mentorship program. So generally, even I have seen during the consultant program, I've seen, right? When people set goals, they are mostly aspirational, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and they are so ambitious. Sometimes the team is on the ground, and it's like a pretty common statement. People say moonshot, right?
Yeah.
So they are on the ground, but they are thinking the team is on the ground, but the management is thinking on moonshot, and there's a
Yeah.
huge gap that exists between the team and the management expectations.
Yeah.
So in such cases, how do you see, some in cases like, the framework like OKRs, that can basically help them bridge the gap, because eventually they have to have an alignment between, the
Yeah.
management thoughts to the
Yeah.
execution when people are actually doing a lot of groundwork. So how do you see this basically helping, organizations thinking in the right directions, and at the same time ensuring that the team is quite agile?
Yeah. So this is again great point, because if you do not have a process or a system, most probably you're gonna fail. Like, you could be lucky first time, but you
Mm.
cannot be lucky repeatedly.
Yeah.
And OKR is a very good system. That the difference between, uh, think big or dream big, it's
Mm.
a vision, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's just the motivation. The
Yeah.
motivation and the goals are two different things. Goal has to be financial goal, because you are in business, and it has to be specific number. Now, in my opinion, goal is a one-time discussion.
Mm.
You just set up the goal, but the real thing is how to achieve the goal, and that's a
Yeah.
process. And for the
Yeah.
process, you need to have the system. Either if you're a genius, you can create your own system, but
Yeah.
you can take, adopt some other system. So OKR is a very simple system, actually. There are other systems as well, but OKR is a very smart and easy to implement system. So when I implement as a consultant OKR, I do OKR in a different way. I said, okay, we have some cross departmental task as well. Let's suppose if I'm
Mm. Mm.
consulting in marketing, we always have cross departmental, interaction, meaning,
Yeah.
with merchandising, with product UX team, maybe with customer service, maybe with finance. So we need to define, that where we overlap, first
Yeah.
of all. Then we go onto the team level. So let's suppose if I'm working with the marketing, I'm gonna go with the team level and I'm gonna say, okay, here is the thing, content marketing team. Can you define your OKRs? You know,
Yeah.
and you don't need to know in the whole framework. You can just start writing the simple thing, because this is my objective, these are the key responsibilities, and these are the results. I can fine tune it. You don't need to worry about it. Just write what you think is right. And what happened is each team, two, three, four, 5 member team, they start writing their OKRs, social media OKR, email marketing OKR, content
Mm.
marketing OKR, performance marketing OKR. So now they are making this OKR. I so and then the merchandising OKR and the other UX kind of thing. What we do,
Yeah.
with other teams, sometimes with the customer service operations as well. So we combine those OKR, and then we become the departmental OKRs. And then from
Yeah.
other department OKR, we become the organization OKR. And from the organization OKR, you set up the goal. It becomes so easy. To, it's not just, to have the understanding of the OKR, but also the implementation. Because at the team level, they don't care about, what is their goal at the
Yeah.
management level. Don't need to worry about it. For content marketing, they have their OKRs. They just work on their OKRs and they are updating it. We are talking about, OKRs and what are the, progress and everything. And this is how we maintain it. So my point is, you need to simplify things. I realize that many times management, they talk in a management language
Yeah.
at a very low level, and they do not understand what they are talking about, like these dream big kind of thing. They do not understand. They said, okay, I'm a content writer, I do not understand how I can make $20 million extra in next 3 years or 1 year. Like, I'm just writing content.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is you need to simplify things at the team level.
Yeah.
And and the whole role of manager is not to you know overwhelm your team members with the complexities of the businesses. You need to simplify things,
Mm.
make things easy, make things
Yeah.
which can be achievable by individual or small teams, and take those pieces and build the puzzle. This is how you need to have the approach. So this is how we implement these kind of things.
No, I think I really liked, right, the moment you say, don't bring business complexities to the team, right? Probably
Yeah,
they have no clue on that. But if you
yeah,
make it simple and easy for them to really relate to what they do and how they can contribute, I think that makes organizations executing at a different level and probably help them in achieving that moonshot goals or whatnot they are thinking.
yeah,
Keeping that in mind, right? Needless to say, people would be, kind of very excited, right? Because when Jyoti came and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm in discussion with Asim," and she shared the profile of yours, and I looked at, $800 million, and I said, "Hey, you know what? I'm really excited to speak to Asim because, this is one of my favorite questions for you." So I would be more interested in learning from you that, how you have helped, organizations. I mean, I'm sure, right, throughout your career, many organizations you have helped them generate in a consolidated way, or we can say $800 million. It's a big number, big, big sum, right? And needless to say, that proves your agility, that proves your creativity, that also proves your ability to think beyond, right, and out of the box that we say. And I'm sure it is something which not only personally I like to learn, but I'm sure there are many other viewers who would also like to learn. So what is
yeah.
that, how it has worked, and how you helped organizations wherever you have mentored, where you have run your business, how it has worked out for you.
So I think I need to update this $8 million. Probably it's more now, because in e-commerce, it's a recurring business, right? So people have revenue coming, and they are growing the businesses. I can give you a couple of examples of
Yeah.
how I can achieve. So I don't need to overcomplicate this 800 million. This is just for me, it's just a heading. The main point is when you go into any business,
Hmm.
and how you grow that business, that is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And the growth means that each year the business is growing, business is adding more revenue and more profitability. And collectively, if you see, if someone is making 50 million, It's very simple formula. If you have worked with 10 businesses and everyone is making 50 million, think about it, it's become 500 million. But probably my calculations are wrong. Probably it's more than 800 million. But I thought, probably 5 years ago that probably I helped 8 million. So I just put this 8 million. So what is the important point is you need to bring a revenue to the businesses, and revenue is not just one time event. Revenue is recurring, number one.
Hmm.
And revenue with the profitability is the main thing. Some businesses, they focus on the revenue only. You need to have a balance of revenue versus how much margins you have. So if you want, I can elaborate some examples that's going to solve the puzzle, that how people
Absolutely.
can really build your portfolio of this big numbers.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'll give you an example of supplement store. And they were doing around 8.5 million dollars. They have a good revenue, but somehow their growth was stagnant, and they wanted to grow, but their customer acquisition cost was getting high because they have just one model, which is acquire customers and build these numbers. So I joined them as a consultant, as a fractional CMO, and I said, first of all, you need to change your mindset. You don't need to focus on the growth as a number. You need to think about growth in a balance of profit, customer acquisition costs, customer retention, and then your revenue overall. And fortunately for me, it was an easy product relatively, because this was vitamin supplement store. And what people do not understand, when they have business, that what kind of relationship people have with their products or the customers and the product relationship. So for example, if you're selling a digital camera versus selling vitamins, that's a two different product. You're gonna have
Yeah.
total different relationship between one customer and the product and the other. So in digital camera, you're gonna have so many cross sell and upsell. You cannot sell digital camera again and again and again, and you cannot sell 35 lens 10 times to one customer. However, in this business, which is a supplement, you can literally do one supplement, and you can sell this supplement again and again and again. Plus you can sell other type of supplements and the other type of things as well to the customers. So you see the understanding of that thing. So I said, first of all, try to understand from the customer point of view what kind of relationship they have with the product. Once you have that relationship understanding in e-commerce business, everything becomes so easy.
Yeah.
So what happened is, many customers, many businesses, they just go into checklist that we should have loyalty program, we should have this program. I said, no, you need to think about your customer product relationship, your business model, and then you go. So what I did is I overhauled the strategy. I said, okay, we need to work on customer retention more. So we need to have more frequency from the same customers, that they need to buy more. We need to have recency, which means we need to retain those customers as well. And then we need to have the loyalty from the customer, so they can not only order for themselves, but they can also refer to us, and they can also build a community who can support us when even we
Hmm.
are sleeping. So let's suppose Reddit's community and these kind of things. So what I did, I changed the whole mindset. I said, yes, we're gonna have customer acquisition, but we cannot just acquire more than 20% each time. So our ad spend is this much. Now we need to have other means of growth, meaning customer loyalty program, email marketing. We changed the whole merchandising on the website, upselling, cross selling. We started learning the data, that how customer buy, what customer buy, what kind of things they buy, what kind of things we can bundle things up, what is cross selling, what is upselling. So we see everything from the customer point of view, and we change everything. In just 3.5 years, their revenue was around 43, $44 million.
Amazing.
And the profit was so high because the thing is, they were not spending money on ad spend anymore. But what happened also during all these things is they changed their mindset as well. Now they
Hmm.
are looking for solutions. Before they were not solution oriented. They were just thinking about ads can grow their business. And now they were thinking about, no, no, there could be other means to grow the business as well. So this is one of the case study I always talk about, because it is very core and basic problem with most e-commerce businesses. They try to do checklist, like I gonna have everything. You don't need to have everything. You need to understand your business, your customer, your
Yeah.
product first, and then you need to customize the strategy.
A great point. I think, that also brings a different perspective to look at. And then again, as you rightly mentioned, people don't need to go after some, complex theory, but they need to look at something which is very basic and what is missing here, right? Keeping that in mind, I have last question for you, which is now a lot of, if you see here, a lot of startups are coming up. People are coming up with new ideas. A lot of entrepreneurs are, kind of getting born every day. What would be your suggestions, for them, specifically those who are aspiring to build their career in marketing field?
Yeah, so for the marketing, you need to have lifelong learning. So first of all, you need to understand that marketing is not a clerical job. It is not something you got the degree or certification and then you're going to sustain for next 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah,
In some fields you could, but marketing, no.
yeah.
Even, people like myself, who have probably so many case studies, when I go into any business, I go with the curiosity of a child that, I don't know anything. And all the solutions or my achievements are irrelevant now. So that is the first thing you need to have in marketing, that it is how customer gonna behave, you don't know. So in marketing, the second thing in marketing, which is most important, that you need to have a mindset of a researcher kind of. You always looking for winners, in your strategy. So for example, if I'm going into any business,
Mm.
instead of creating the whole strategy and running one campaign, I'm always going to create 10 hypotheses, and
Mm.
I gonna run small campaigns and try to validate and invalidate things. Otherwise, I cannot just put everything in one campaign and risk
Yeah,
the whole budget and finance. So this is the second
yeah,
thing which is very important for any marketers, that they need to have experimentation mindset, that everything is hypothesis, everything I need to validate, improve, and iterate with the time. This is second
yeah,
thing. The third thing is the learning. You need to learn every day. You need to learn something every day. You need to learn from data, from customers, from outside. You need to have this thing. And the marketing now uh, is is very much dependent on technology now. You need to have better understanding of technology, because technology can shape your operations, your strategy, your vision, everything. Because yes, conceptually you can create any scenario,
yeah,
but at the execution operational level, you need to know, what kind of tech stack you have, what kind of technology you need to use, and these kind of things. So three, four things for marketers is very important. But overall, marketing is very rewarding, number one. Number two, marketing is also very exciting, because every day you go with a challenge and you try to solve it. It
yeah,
is not like some other fields where, you just open your computer and start working on it. Everything, every day is a new challenge. So if you have this challenging personality, if you like excitement in your life and something, you can have the sense of achievement and the purpose, marketing is
yeah.
great. You're gonna feel so good, when you help people, you know.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I think I generally say this, right? I mean, I say that, if you are in a marketing, one thing that you always need to keep in mind is you need to be a very good observer, right? Because marketing guy, he is a great observer, right? So you go outside, and your mind
Yeah.
is constantly figuring out so many things that you say, hey, you know what, this is really exciting. Yeah? You went to a mall and you have seen something which is very exciting. You want to apply that next day, in your organizations. You have seen something, when a guy is wearing a t-shirt and say, oh, wow, this is amazing marketing, right? So your eye is going to catch so many things, but when it is catching, are you really observing, right?
Yeah.
And as you rightly mentioned, I'm going to link it to one of your important point that you mentioned. You need to be constantly learning, and when you
Yeah.
do that, I'm sure you will continue to grow. Great, Asim. So, on this note, I really like to thank you so much for sharing your, learning, for sharing your experience with us. And I'm sure, Roy, those who's going to learn our podcast is going to learn a lot of things. In fact, they're going to, probably it is going to also clarify a lot of things that they might not have thought earlier.
Yeah.
Right, Asim. So thank you so much for your time today
You're
with
welcome.
us.
Yep. Thanks. Thanks
Thank you.
again.
Bye bye.
Thank you.